And welcome to the Cardinals Nest on HBC Channel 25. Thanks for watching. Dean Beckman along with Sports Information Director Donny Nadeau as we are here to talk St. Mary's University athletics. And Donny, in the interview portion of our show today, will bring in the head baseball coach Nick Winecke, and one of his players, Andrew Warren, will join us.
Yeah, it's been a busy spring for them. It's nice that they're able to get here and do this. I know they've been playing just about every other day, so it's nice to get them on, and we'll rake them over the coals a little bit and put Andrew on the spot a little bit, but it'll be nice to talk some baseball with them.
That's right. Nick now in his second year as head coach for the Cardinals, so we look forward to that. But first, Donny, and I know when you went to journalism school, we did a lot of talk about the inverted pyramid style, and the one rule with that is you always talk about the most important thing first.
So you're talking
about me?
We're
going to do that. Well, yeah, well, of course.
Okay.
We're going to do that here on the Cardinals Nest because clearly the headline this week is the softball team's big victory over St. Thomas, the first time since 2001. You got to go back a long ways from the last time that they beat St. Thomas. Lost the first game of the doubleheader, but came back strong and knocked off the perennial power Tommies.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it when you talk about that doubleheader is that when I talked to Coach Miller afterwards, it was we should have won both games. St. Mary's actually entered the bottom of the fifth inning of the first game leading 2-1 and gave up a 3-run home run, ended up losing that game 5-3. The big thing was that they didn't let that affect how they played in the second game, came out and beat them 3-0. And you talk about how long it's been since they've beaten St. Thomas, and it's been 20 games, goes back to that 2001 season. The current coach, Jen Miller, was actually the catcher for that team that beat St. Thomas. So it's been a long time, and Coach Cheetah's got a powerhouse there at St. Thomas, and for us to take one of two from them, it's a huge bonus. St. Thomas had not been shut out by a conference team in 146 games. So for St. Mary's to not only beat them but to shut them out it really says a lot about the performance that St. Mary's put forth, and it was an outstanding pitching performance from Mallory Betzold, and got some timely hits, including a 2-run home run from Katie Gannon, and those are the things that you need to do to win games. And I'm sure when we talk to Coach Winecke in the second segment, it's going to be the same thing. You need those timely hits. You need that pitcher to come through with a complete game that's more than just being out there, but also being a dominant performance. And the softball team got both of those and came away with a win.
Yeah, absolutely. And their conference record now stands at 4-2, with the bulk of conference play still to come. That's kind of the heart of their schedule, which is where they're at right now. And so the next several games will be very telling. Their non-conference mark this year, not overly impressive at 7-13. However, the quality of teams that they have played is the fact that they beat St. Thomas a sign that maybe it was the right thing to do, playing those high-quality teams and maybe not winning some of those games, but getting used to big-time competition.
Oh, absolutely. There's no question about that. And again, we can talk to Coach Winecke about that because he does the same thing. You've got to schedule your non-conference so that you're preparing yourself for the conference season. And if you schedule a bunch of cupcakes and you come into the conference schedule with a
feeling good about yourself.
Yeah, feeling good about yourself. But really, in reality, you're not as good as you think you are. I think that really can bring you down. But the Cardinals played a lot of tough teams at the Sun West tournament in California, and I think that did get them ready. But I think it also just showed the potential that team has when they do put everything together. And right now the problem with them has been that inconsistency. They haven't been putting it all together on a consistent basis, and really the long ball has been what's hurt them. And if they can get a strong pitching performance from Mal or from Jackie Pronzinski, keep them in the ball game, they've definitely got the offense that can bang with any team in the conference. And to pick up a win against St. Thomas is probably a win that is obviously one that really, with the dominance of St. Thomas, is kind of unexpected. That gives St. Mary's a little bit of a boost. And now when they've got 2 games against Bethel, then they play Augsburg on Saturday, and then they've got 2 non-conference games against Luther. You use that momentum, and hopefully they can just carry through, pick up 4 conference wins, and now all of a sudden you're at 8-2 and looking pretty good as you start getting ready for looking at the conference tournament.
Well, I was going to ask if that victory over St. Thomas means now that they have kind of turned the corner a little bit because of the string of home games that they have coming up.
I'd like to think so, and obviously when we talk to any coach that's on this show, So, playing at home is a big deal. It's a big advantage, and we play very well at home in softball as well. We get a great following from our community, and we play very well there. And I think that the fact that we do have our next 6 games at home, don't have to travel, don't have to take them out of school as early, those kind of things, that's going to work to their advantage. The key is going to be when you step between the lines, though. You've still got to play the game, and really they should be favored in these next 4 conference games. But funny things have happened. They played Bethel last year, and they were leading going into the 7th inning, gave up 4 runs, including a 2-run home run, and all of a sudden they get swept by Bethel. And so, you've got to go out and you've got to play the game, and they've got to continue to play at that high level. You get into conference play, you can't afford any type of a letdown. The conference is just too tough, and it doesn't matter what sport we talk about. This conference is so difficult, top to bottom, that you can't afford to have an off day. You've got to be at that high level, and you've got to play at the best of your abilities every single time you take the field, and that's not always easy to do.
Early in the season, their offense was really letting them down, but you mentioned Katie Gannon's 2-run home run. She now leads the team with 2 home runs. It seems like the hitting is coming along this year, and some of the players that we expected to be among the team leaders in hitting, like Katie Gannon, they're creeping their way up as far as batting average
Yeah,
goes.
and they usually say early in the season the pitching is always ahead of the hitting, and I think that our hitting is starting to to come around, and obviously Katie Gannon is starting to bring her average back up where it belongs. Kelly Simons is doing an outstanding job, not only at third base defensively, but with the bat as well. She was 5 for 9 against St. Thomas, so she's playing very well. And then freshman Erin Stenseth has just been unbelievable. She's hitting well over 400. She leads the team in just about every offensive category, and she's been on base in 17 of the 18 games that she's played, including a hit in 16 of those 18. So you get a leadoff person who's on base as much as she is. Obviously, that's a big advantage as well.
And I know Mallory Betzold looking for the hitting to come around. She's at around 245 in batting average. She's dealing with a foot injury that I think, while it hasn't affected her pitching, it certainly is affecting her hitting a little bit.
And not only her hitting, but her ability to run as well. Anytime she gets a hit, she's even struggling to just get to first base. She's got a real problem with her right foot, and obviously it's affecting her offensively. But she did pitch both games against St. Thomas and pitched all 13 innings. So obviously it's not hampering her in terms of pitching, but it really is making a difference with her in terms of her offense.
All right, let's go to tennis now. And Donnie, we've been off for a few weeks. The tennis team over the Easter break for St. Mary's was in Orlando. And the women's tennis team is really becoming kind of the quiet, big story on campus. Not making tons of news, but you look at their record, they're 9-6, dominating a lot of performances, won 2 out of 3 down in Orlando, and now coming back strong with a 9-0 win over University of Wisconsin Stout.
Yeah, they're playing very well, and I know Coach Hallberg is extremely happy with what he's seeing from both his men's and his women's team. And it's one of those things we talk about, the competition that you play, and they're playing some very difficult non-conference teams, and I think it is showing in their conference record. They're 3-5 conference-wise, but they're right in the middle of that chase for a conference tournament spot. And at this time of the year, with basically 3 weeks left, that's where you want to be. You want to be in the hunt, and right now they're playing some very good tennis. Bailey Edwards at #1 singles and Rebecca Snyder at #2 are a pretty dominant 1-2 combination, and I know that Coach Hallberg is always happy to see them play, and 9 times out of 10 they're putting a W behind their name after their singles match, and then the 2 of them team up and are playing extremely well at #1 doubles. So the 2 of them are really carrying the load and allowing some of the other players to kind of drop down in the lineup, so to speak, so that they're playing more at the level that they need to be at the spot in the lineup that they need to be at, and they're playing very well as a team.
Yeah, it seems like there doesn't seem to be a big drop-off between singles and doubles victory percentage, because singles is at 540, doubles at 583, and Andrea Alice really putting together a nice season in singles. She's 11-6, so coming in there later after the #1 and #2, picking up key victories, which has helped them to that winning record.
Right. They've got, Bailey's got 13 wins, Rebecca's got 12, and Andrea's got 11. You take those 3, and you figure that, that's a pretty good percentage of 3 wins in the 6 singles matches. Now all you need is 1 more win, and and you've got a victory. And so, it's been a huge boost. And Andrea's been a really pleasant surprise. And I know that, Coach Hallberg knew the potential that she had she, when she's given the opportunity to play on a consistent basis. And she's really coming through and playing very well.
The men's tennis team winning 2 of 4 down in Orlando, hovering right around the 500 mark overall this season, but getting terrific play from Mike Lunke. He's 10-8. Sam Puff is 9-4, and their singles winning percentage at .436. So they're sort of on the rise here a little bit.
Yeah, and a couple of newcomers are leading the way, and Mike and Sam, and they're doing a very nice job. And they're getting good veteran leadership from Pavel and from Justin Loeffler, and so they're Coach Hallberg is really excited about what the potential is for that men's team. Right now it's kind of like, as we talked at the beginning of the year, it's getting that right combination, finding the right spots for these people to play, and then going out and playing to their ability, and really that consistency is what they need to work on. I know he was very happy with his spring trip. They usually go to Hilton Head for a spring trip, and they went to Orlando this year and got some good weather and got some good outside tennis. They don't play much tennis outside anymore, so for them to play outside, it's a good experience and something they're really not used to anymore, because like at home, all of our home matches are played at the tennis center, so it's all indoors. So it's good for them to get outside and have to battle the wind and the sun, and so I know they enjoyed that very much.
And then finally, Donnie, the track and field teams at the Lee Krogh Invitational in St. Peter, and Derek Worley had set a school record in the hammer throw, but it didn't last very long. And poor Derek had been working his entire career to break that record. He does it, only to see it broken later that same day.
Yeah, and the thing is he really broke it very well. I mean, he broke it by 5 meters.
He shattered it, yeah.
Absolutely, and he threw 41.6 in the hammer, something that he's been trying to do since he came as a freshman. And 25 minutes later, Andrew Brugan came and broke his mark by 14 meters to provisionally qualify for the NCAAs.
Wow, so that was terrific, and now they're sort of gearing up the track and field team, the home meet for St. Mary's, not this weekend, but next weekend, and they're sort of preparing for that, and then the conference championships after that.
Right, so they're getting going, and so we'll see what happens.
All right, stay tuned. When we come back, we'll bring on Andrew Warren, one of the players for the St. Mary's baseball team, and his head coach, Nick Winecke. We'll do that right after this here on HBC.
With objects coming right out of the screen.
I see. Death.
Prepared by Dr. Bryant to determine your ability to withstand shock.
Carnival of Soul. Coming to get you, Barbara.
Feed me food.
And welcome back to the Cardinals Nest. Dean Beckman, Donny Nadeau, joined now by the head baseball coach, Nick Winecke, along with Andrew Warren, junior for St. Mary's, and on the baseball team. And guys, thanks for joining us today. Nick, we'll get to you in just a little bit, but Andrew, why don't you tell us more about yourself? You're a junior at St. Mary's. Tell us where you're from, how you got started playing baseball, and then how you landed at St. Mary's.
Okay. I'm a junior accounting major from Stillwater, Minnesota. I started playing baseball real young, t-ball, then kind of just proceeded along the way through junior high and high school. And in high school, I played baseball with a kid named Robbie Johnson, who was an alum of St. Mary's, who also played baseball here. He recommended it, came down for a visit, liked it, enjoyed it, and here I am.
All right, great. And you're an accounting major, right?
Correct.
So.
Yes, accounting major here. I decided to do that after playing baseball with Kev Black and Dave Dahlstrom and all those guys who are accounting majors as well.
Right, all right. So it's becoming a trend. But, Nick, it's got to feel good for you that you're not going to get any questions about first-year head coach stuff now in your second year, right? It's good to be past all that.
It's good to be past it. Learn absolutely just a tremendous amount of experience being in it, and but every day is just sort of a different day. You learn something new every day. So.
Yeah.
Nick, talk a little bit. Let's go way back to the beginning of the season. Talk a little bit about the trip to Arizona and the importance of that trip, not only for just the playing of baseball, but you're trying to get a team together. You're trying to find positions. You're trying to find batting orders. How important is that trip for you guys?
I think that trip is just humongous, no matter how you go around it. Just the ability to have the guys be with one another for 8 days or 7 days we're down there, and you sort of wake up, you go play baseball, come home, and you sort of hang out with the guys all day long. So it's a great trip. Good to try a couple different lineups, see who performs, who hits behind so-and-so a little bit better. So it's overall just a great experience for the guys.
How about for you, Andrew? You went on your third one this year. Talk a little bit about the trip from a player's standpoint.
I think at a player's standpoint, you learn a lot about your teammates. You do get all fall in the first half of the year to meet the new freshmen coming in or transfers. But I think ultimately when you're in Arizona, you're living with the team for 4 to 5 days, and I think you learn a lot about who people are, where they come from, a little bit more about their background that sometimes you don't get to understand.
Nick, for you, you talk about different lineups. You had a lot of returning guys, but they're not playing in the same positions that they played in last year. Andrew's a perfect example. Andrew was the third baseman last year. This year he's out in left field. Archambault is playing over at first base. Talk a little bit about the changes that you had to make in terms of where people are playing.
I think a lot of changes had to do with some guys that we brought in. So obviously moving Andrew out to the left field was huge for us, and I think has really sparked him to defensively and offensively. So he's made the switch seamlessly, and just trying to find the right combination. So I always tell all the guys and anybody that we're recruiting that I'm not so much looking for a certain position. I'm looking for guys that are able to play a lot of different positions. You never know who could get hurt. You move your one spot or the other. So the more spots you can play, the better chance you had to be in the lineup. So.
Talk a little bit, Andrew, about moving to left field. Was it a big adjustment for you? Had you always been an infielder, or had you played some outfield before this year?
Actually, coming in as a freshman, I did mostly catching, and then about halfway through the year, I went to third base, and now I'm in the outfield. The transition was pretty simple, although I did usually play infield or catcher most of my life. But I think you get the reason I think Coach does it a lot is you want to get your best 9 guys in the lineup. And I think sometimes that's the result that you get is, moving some people around the field a little bit.
Nick, you had brought up the recruiting aspect when you have guys come on. Is versatility one of the things you'd be looking for in a recruit, a guy who doesn't mind moving around and can play numerous positions?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's funny when you talk to a senior in high school, you ask them what position you play, and some will say, well, I just play shortstop. And I say, well, the St. Mary's is probably not just for you then. Because you can play in multiple positions. So I always had these guys practicing a lot of spots, and that's actually sort of how we found out. We moved Vince Lewick, that was a catcher coming in, saw him actually take some ground balls during batting practice, and now he's starting at third base the past couple of games. So just the ability to play different positions, I think that was always something that I enjoyed as a player, is get the chance to go and play some different spots and figure out what spot's best for you with this team right now. So
it is interesting. You look at just about your entire starting lineup, and they all at one point had played a different position for, maybe not for you, but for a previous coach. Kyle Ryan was a second baseman. Now he's a shortstop. And I think you're right. I think that versatility really makes a difference. What's been the biggest surprise this year for you in terms of player-wise? Who's really caught your eye in terms of his play, and maybe you didn't expect him to be at that level right now?
I would say Andrew for sure. His outfield play has been absolutely phenomenal. So I think actually our outfield play is probably one of the best in the conference. Jake Lechner in center field does a phenomenal job defensively. And then we've had a couple different guys out in right field. John Swenson, Chris Bogey have done a great job, but I think our outfield play has been phenomenal. Another kid I really think that stepped up his game right now is Kurt Swanson, our sophomore catcher. Last year I don't think he was quite ready to play college baseball. This year I think he's for sure learning it, and he's having a great year for us offensively and defensively.
No surprise that a lot of the guys you named kind of high up on the list as far as batting average goes. You talked about Kurt, he's at .313. Andrew here is at .306 on the season. And then you've got guys like Joe O'Neill who don't maybe play every single game, but he's batting .345. And so you're really getting some key hits from some of those players.
Yeah, and you bring up Joe, and Joe's probably, if you could have one player with the work ethic and the mentality, you'd probably want about 1 million Joe O'Neills. Kid just works his tail off for you every single day. So it's, I think from my standpoint and also from the player standpoint, we just love to see Joe stepped in, had a couple opportunities, just gets on base and does a phenomenal job for us.
Me being the stat guy, Andrew and Kyle are the only ones on your team this year that have started all 27 games. That talks a little bit about that versatility you have. But talk a little bit about Kyle Ryan. He's started every single game since he came here as a freshman, 128 games straight. That's pretty impressive for any baseball player to be able to play that many games in a row without taking a day off or getting hurt or whatnot.
Yeah, Kyle's been phenomenal for us for the past 4 years. So he came in, played 2.5 years at second baseman, and now we moved him over to short full-time this year. And second base, he's probably a better second baseman than he is a shortstop, but he's a great shortstop for us right now. I think he's done a great job. He doesn't balk at the move over there. He's just been a steady person you can write in the lineup every single day. So he's been great for this program.
And go ahead.
I was going to say, Coach, right now you're at 2-6 in the conference as we tape this, 9-18 overall, and I know that isn't where you want it, but from last year, your first year as head coach, to this year, how have you seen this team grow and progress a little bit?
I think this team has grown so much in 1 year. Coming in here is, I always ask these guys just to give themselves an opportunity to win some ball games, and continuously to work hard, and that's one thing that this group does. They continuously, every single day, show up and work hard. And we were actually talking about on our drive down here. I started asking Andrew, I said, hey, how are some of the guys doing? He says, we're good because we just show up and work every day. And their ability to sort of forget about yesterday's box score and get prepared for the next game, I think, has helped us tremendously. So I think very much so the program's going in the right direction. I wouldn't be going in that direction without these guys really working hard and believing in what we're doing. So I tip my hat to these guys every single day.
Well, you just took my last question away from Andrew, because I was going to say, how are things going? You know, obviously everybody wants to have a winning record. They want to be, you know, battling for conference championships. But you know what? Sometimes it takes little steps. You know, last year you only won 8 games. This year you've already won 9. How is the mentality of the team right now?
It's always hard when you lose a couple close games or games you think you maybe should have won. But like Coach was saying earlier, I think everybody on the team is kind of in the same page. You know, everybody's going to go out there every day, work hard, you know, maybe spend that extra half hour hitting, taking ground balls or whatever, trying to get better. And that's all you can do, and then keep playing, you know.
As an accounting major, obviously not an easy major at St. Mary's, and in a sport like baseball, it's got to be hard to juggle classroom and athletics, because, you know, you do spend a lot of time outside the classroom. How are you able to juggle that, or what, you know, are there any secrets that you guys do that are able to keep you, you know, hitting the books the way you should?
The big thing is planning. You know, you gotta look ahead. But on the other hand, it's kind of funny to look at your GPA when you're in season and out of season. A lot of times my GPA is a little better in season. You know, I think you pay attention a little more to due dates. You know, you look at your work a little more because you know people are watching you. But I think the business department does a great job with student athletes. They work with you, they help you out. If you need anything, they'll always be there.
Boy, Coach, I didn't see many books on the airplane ride to Phoenix.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, as an accounting major, at least he can figure out his GPA.
That's right, yeah. So that's actually one thing that you take a look at last semester. We had a 3.0 team GPA. So 31 guys pull 3.0 as a team GPA. Is doing a pretty good job. So that was one of our goals, to be over 3. And these guys just do a tremendous job of staying on top of their stuff. So.
Coach, I know pitching is an area you're always looking to improve on. What are you and some of your assistant coaches doing to work on that? I know Andrew Ruff is having a good season on the mound.
Yeah, we just, you know, I think at times we're just too inconsistent on the mound. You always talk about when you miss your spot, you don't want to miss over the heart of the plate. And you don't want to be up in the zone. I think that's what we've been getting in trouble. Early in the year, I thought when we missed our pitches, we were down in parts of the zone where hitters would have a tough time putting a good part of the bat on the ball. But I think right now we're missing up in the zone, missing to the heart of the plate, and I think that's what's hurting us a little bit. So we've got to do a couple different drills, different things to really get our focus back down. So, but they work hard every day, so that's all you can ask.
You know, one of the things that's different this year for you guys is you actually have a full schedule. You've got a 40-game schedule, which doesn't give you a lot of time to practice. So how do you keep people sharp? And, you know, you're playing, you know, aside from this week, you're playing every other day. You know, this week you played on Tuesday, now you do get a couple of days off. But how do you keep them sharp when you're playing on a Wednesday, then a Friday, and a Saturday, and then a Monday, and then, you know, a schedule like that?
Yeah, it's tough. I think today's our third practice we'll have in the past, I'm going to say 3 weeks. So we haven't really had a whole lot of time to practice. So that's the tough thing to keeping guys sharp. Just because we've been playing a ton of guys. From a hitting standpoint, it's a little bit easier because you can always take batting practice. But from a pitching standpoint, it can be tough. So really just trying to get some bullpen sessions in off the side and really just getting focused in on some drills. So having these next couple days of practice should help us.
All right, we got to run, but Coach Winecke and Andrew Warren, thanks for being on the show. Good luck the rest of the season here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, stay tuned. Donnie and I will be back to close things out right after this here on HBC.
Here in Winona that was made to honor the vet.
Welcome to HBC Channel 25 News. I'm Dave Dickey. Thank you.
Aye, we're only through March, so you best be stopping in now.
HBC Channel 25, Dean Beckman, Justin Barrientos, and Paul Van Beek. And we're back here on the Cardinals Nest here on HBC. Dean Beckman along with Donny Nadeau, and wrapping things up now with a look at some of the other things going on at St. Mary's University, non-athletic related. Although one of these events we're going to talk about does involve sports and durability and athleticism and all of that. We'll get to that in just a minute. But first, the big senior art show. And honestly, this is my favorite thing that goes on every single year at the Lillian Davis Hogan Art Gallery in Toner Center at St. Mary's. All of the seniors, it's a senior showcase for the art majors. And that's going to be going through Saturday, May 8th. And the gallery is open daily from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. And there we see a work, Donnie, from Mariana Sanchez. She's into digital cartoons, and that's one of the items you'll see on display.
It's absolutely an amazing show, and if you do get a chance to get up there, it's the things that these individuals can do with photography and with painting and drawing and digital images. It's just phenomenal, and it really is a tribute to them and what they've accomplished.
And the first one that we had seen on the screen there was from Joe Kraus, and there we see St. Mary's Hall depicted by Joe Kraus, and again, just one of the many pieces of art you'll see at the senior art
The interesting thing about that, Dean, is both people that you've mentioned were athletes. Joe Kraus plays baseball, and Mariana was a soccer player, so obviously they have some very artistic talents.
No question. The athletic thing that I was telling you about is the Row, Ride, Run Triathlon that's going to take place on April 24th, next Saturday at 9 a.m. Check-in begins at 7:30 a.m. on the west end of Lake Winona. The public definitely encouraged to take part in this triathlon. Participants will canoe or kayak a 2.5-mile loop around Lake Winona. Then they're going to bike 14 miles from Lake Winona to the St. Mary's campus. And then once on campus, racers will run 3.1 miles through the bluffs surrounding the university. Proceeds benefit the Soul mission trips that St. Mary's does every year. And for more information or to register, you can go to the website that you see there on the screen or call 457-7268. Donnie, you did this one year, didn't you?
I did. We had a team that did it, and I did the kayak portion, and Nikki Fenner, our athletic director, did the running portion, and former basketball coach Nigel Jenkins attempted the bike portion and made it about 2 miles and quit. So we were disqualified. But it's a neat event, and I'd encourage anybody that is interested in any type of triathlon. It's a lot of fun, and the courses are pretty navigatable.
Well, I was going to say, it sounds doable until you get to that run through the blocks.
Well, see, I think it's the bike, because you actually bike up 43 all the way to 90 there, and that's a pretty steep climb.
14 miles.
Absolutely,
biking,
but it would be, it's something that certainly perks your interest in terms of trying to accomplish something.
Yeah. And finally, in recognition of Spruce Up Winona Day, St. Mary's Volunteer Services is organizing a group of student volunteers to help out Winona nonprofit agencies. There'll be spring cleaning, raking leaves, painting, construction, you name it, they'll do it. Molly Jewison is the contact person there at 457-1643 as part of Spruce Up Winona Day. Just again, another good example of students doing great things in the community. That's going to do it for the Cardinals Nest here on HBC. Thanks for watching. We'll be off next week and then on for our final show of the 2009-2010 season the following week. Thanks for watching here on HBC Channel 25.